A shopping bag changes hands outside a London. It is a cold Saturday night, January 1961. Inside that bag, rolls of film. Secrets about a nuclear submarine. Secrets that could tip the balance of the Cold War at sea. The woman carrying it has no idea she is being watched. Neither does the man she just met. He calls himself Gordon Lonsdale, Canadian businessman, jukebox salesman, ladies' man. But right now, in the dark, 3 unmarked cars are closing in. Because Gordon Lonsdale does not exist. His real name is Konon Trofimovich Molody, a colonel in the KGB. Born in Moscow, 1922. Raised for 9 years in America, in California, with relatives, which is where his flawless English came from. Recalled to the Soviet Union as a boy. Trained, tested, hardened. By 1954, Moscow has built him a new life from nothing. A stolen identity, a dead Canadian child named Gordon Arnold Lonsdale, who vanished in Finland decades earlier. Molody becomes that name. Passport. Accent. He studies Chinese at a university in London, for cover. He opens a business leasing jukeboxes and vending machines. He makes money. He makes friends. He makes enemies laugh at his jokes. Nobody in London society suspects a thing. But Lonsdale is not here to sell jukebox. He is here to run a spy network aimed straight at Britain's most guarded military secrets. At the Admiralty's underwater weapons establishment in Portland, Dorset, a clerk named Harry Houghton has already been recruited, first by Polish intelligence, later passed to the Soviets. Houghton drinks too much. He talks too much, but he has access. His mistress, Ethel Gee, works in the same building. She has access too, to material even more classified than his. Every few weeks, the two of them ride the train up to London. To the outside world, it looks like a weekend away. Dinner. A show at the Old Vic. In reality, they are meeting their handler, Gordon Lonsdale. He takes what they hand him. Documents, film, details on Britain's newest submarine technology, and disappears into the city. Where the material goes next is even stranger. In a quiet bungalow in Ruislip, on the edge of London, live Peter and Helen Kroger, Antiquarian booksellers, New Zealand passports, utterly unremarkable neighbors, except their real names are Morris and Lona Cohen. American communists, Soviet agents since the 1930s. Under the floor of their kitchen sits a hidden radio transmitter. Inside their books, hollowed pages hide microdots. Photographs shrunk down to the size of a single printed period. Secrets stolen from a British naval base, reduced to a speck no bigger than punctuation. Mailed to Moscow, disguised as nothing at all. For years, this machine runs quietly, undetected, untouchable, until one man, thousands of miles away, decides to talk. In 1959, a Polish intelligence officer named Michael Golanewski begins secretly feeding information to the CIA. Among the secrets he hands over, a warning. Somewhere inside British naval intelligence, there is a leak. The CIA passes the tip to MI5. It is not much to go on, but it is enough to point toward one name, Harry Houghton. MI5 begins to watch him, quietly, patiently. They follow him to London. They see him meet Ethel Gee. They see the two of them meet a well-dressed Canadian businessman near the Old Vic. They photograph him. They trail him home. They check with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The answers do not add up. The real Gordon Lonsdale, it turns out, has been dead for years. By late 1960, MI5 knows they have an illegal, a foreign intelligence officer, living a complete false life on British soil. They bug his flat. They watch his radio transmission. GCHQ intercepts the signals he sends to Moscow, though the codes remain unbroken. In November, they follow him to Ruislip, to the Kroger's front door. Now MI5 has 4 names: Houghton, G, Lonsdale, the Krogers. But there is one more discovery still to come. Inside a private safe deposit box at a bank on Great Portland Street, hidden behind Lonsdale's name, investigators find something disguised as an ordinary cigarette lighter. It is hollow. Inside, espionage. A map of London marked with locations, dead drops, meeting points, escape routes. The evidence is overwhelming. Now MI5 has to decide exactly when to strike. Saturday, January 7th, 1961. Houghton and G arrive in London to meet Lonsdale, just as they have dozens of times before. Inside Ethel G's shopping bag, rolls of film, photographs of classified documents, details on HMS Dreadnought, Britain's first nuclear submarine. They have no idea this meeting will be their last as free people. Special branch officers close in near the Old Vic. Detective Superintendent George Gordon Smith gives the signal. In seconds, it is over. Houghton, G, Lonsdale, all three arrested on the street, secret documents still in hand. Within the hour, officers reach the quiet bungalow in Ruislip. The Krogers open the door to find Special Branch waiting. Under their kitchen floor, the hidden transmitter is found. In a tin of talcum powder, a microdot reader. Inside a battery, $6,000 in hidden cash. 5 people, 1 network. Years of stolen secrets, all unraveled in a single night. 2 days later, all 5 are charged with espionage. G and the Krogers protest their innocence. Houghton tries to cooperate with prosecutors and is refused. Lonsdale says almost nothing at all. The trial opens at the Old Bailey in March 1961. Journalists fill the courtroom. Britain has never seen a spy case quite like it. A Canadian businessman who was never Canadian at all, and a pair of antiquarian booksellers who were never who they claimed to be either. The verdicts come quickly. Houghton and Guy, 15 years each. They will marry in prison and be released early. The Krogers, 20 years. Lonsdale, Konon Molody, 25 years, the longest sentence of them all. He is sent to Winson Green Prison in Birmingham, where of all people, he shares a wing with members of the great train robbers gang. But his story is not finished yet. Behind bars, an MI5 officer named Charles Elwell begins a series of long interviews with. To Elwell's surprise, Molody talks about his childhood, about fighting behind German lines during the war, about rising through the ranks of Soviet intelligence to colonel. At one point, he even offers something extraordinary: to work as a double agent in exchange for money, a new identity, and permission to return home to Moscow without suspicion. Elwell is intrigued. He tries to make it happen. It never does. What Molody will not give up, no matter how the conversation is steered, are the names of any other agents still operating in Britain. He knows exactly what waits for him in Moscow if the KGB ever suspects betrayal. Silence, for him, is survival. On April 22, 1964, at a checkpoint in divided Berlin, Konon Molody is exchanged for a British businessman named Greville Wynne, a man caught up in Moscow's own hunt for a British spy. 2 men cross a line on a bridge, walking in opposite directions. One goes home to Britain. The other goes home to a country he served under a dead man's name for almost a decade. Back in the Soviet Union, Molody publishes a memoir. He calls himself Gordon Lonsdale on the cover. One last time. He still claims, in print, to have been born in Canada. The lie outlives the operation. Years later, the Soviet Union puts his face, or rather Lonsdale's, on a postage. A hero, honored for a life that was never his to begin with. The Portland spy ring remains one of the most damaging Soviet networks ever uncovered on British soil. Years of naval secrets, submarine technology, quietly bleeding out to Moscow through a jukebox salesman who was never really there at all. A man walked through London for 6 years as someone else, made friends as someone else, fell in love with the city as someone else. And in the end, it was not a single mistake that brought him down. It was patience, watching, waiting, a trail of small, careless threads, pulled one at a time, until the whole disguise came apart in a single Saturday night. Somewhere in Moscow, a stamp still carries his borrowed face. A shopping bag still changes hands, frozen forever, outside a London theater. Some stories cross borders the way secrets once. If you're listening tonight, drop a comment and tell us what part of the world this story reached you from.